Yeah.
I'm talking about the school,
Oh, yeah.
day in and day out.
Yeah.
Huh? You wait for the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, if I can. You can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we're here tonight. This is a public forum on the 2022 proposed budget. We do have a short agenda, which also includes an update on middle school in-person instruction. So we'll, and I think our principals have joined us, will join us remotely to give us that update. Lou Ensel is on virtual, right, Lou? You're out there? Not yet, but he will.
Yeah, I'm out here.
And Jonah and Tanner, I'm not sure you're with us, but if you are, we'll mark you as present. Okay, I don't have many comments tonight. I think all of you have seen Patrick's email this afternoon about a couple of COVID-related events at Morse and at BMS that have affected students and staff. I think, if anything, it is a stark reminder of how dealing with COVID remains something we have to be absolutely diligent about, and can't say that word enough, I think. Our schools have been remarkably safe environments for our kids, but we have to remain diligent. I'll say it twice. Social distancing, masking, in school, out of school. It is a community responsibility. We've said that before. We can't stress it enough. We have our kids for 5 to 6 hours a day, and after that, they're in the community. Reinforce that message of responsibility whenever and wherever you can. I know we're right on it in the schools, and we just have to keep our foot on the pedal, so to speak, as we deal with this through the end of the year. We do hope the kids, the families, and the staff affected are fine. Everyone is in quarantine as required by the CDC, by the main CDC, and we'll get updates on that as we go forward. But again, please let's out there, please all let's remain diligent, committed to keeping our schools and our kids safe. Thanks. That's all I really want to say about that. Item 4.0 is it's listed on the agenda as public session, but it's really public comment. And we only have one individual who has requested to address the board. Damien, are you going to be able to reach them? Yep.
Hello?
Hi, this is Steve August at the school board. If you could just give us your name, and we understand you have some comments you'd like to address to the board.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I left work late and I didn't expect to be in my car for this. So I was wondering, I'm on Bluetooth, so I'm hands-free.
I'm sorry?
Could you just tell us your name, please, for the
Yes,
record?
Abby Pearson.
Okay, thanks, Abby.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. So my question is if the budget committee or anybody, I don't know what the group would be called, has considered what funds from the recent stimulus package it has earmarked for special education and support of the IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education stuff. I'm wondering if any of that has been considered and how you're going to spend that money. Sorry, that was not an eloquent way to say it.
Fine, you were perfectly eloquent. I think we know exactly what you're asking.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Abby. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. So we will discuss the budget as item 5.2. I think as I'm going to ask Deb or Patrick to address Abby's question. We don't always answer questions in the context of the public forum, but since it's budget related, we really probably should. And Patrick and Deb can stop me, of course, but it's my understanding that although the package globally has been described, and there is a dollar amount that we understand is coming to Maine, I don't think detail on how those funds are going to be dispersed among school districts has been decided yet, or any of the requirements or regulations around that money have been discussed or provided to the school district. So I don't know, Patrick, do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, future COVID money coming through, the ESSER money and also the recovery money. A certain percentage of that recovery money will go towards learning loss, for example. So that could be summer programming, it could be during the school year. So again, it would be specifically for the question about special education. It could be used for tutoring. It could be used for extra support for students that are in special education. So we haven't carved that out yet because again, we haven't carved out our ESSER 2 money or our recovery money because there's not been any guidance on that at this point right now.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Abby, if you're able to stay on, and when we get to the discussion of the budget itself, maybe some of those issues will come up as well. So. Okay, so under new business 5.1, we have an update on increasing middle school in-person instruction. Patrick?
Yeah, to give you a brief update tonight, the board knows, and I believe obviously the parents of middle school students know this as well because there's a communication that went out at the end of last week. But today we brought back 6th and 7th graders at BMS. By all accounts, from what I heard, it went very well. Unfortunately, we have, we'll have a quarantine situation for one of our grades that will impact, much like, remember, I don't know, it was 3 months ago when we did this, 3 or 4 months at Fisher Mitchell, we planned to start at 1 week full time, and then kind of a similar thing happened. We can't control that. But by all accounts, Katie and I heard from some teachers today and felt very supported and reassured that this is, that they can make this work. They're going to tweak a few things, but it went well. And then for 8th grade at BMS, we're shooting for the Monday after April break to bring back 8th grade as well. We've got some shifting of schedules, some staff that have to teach some different things or help in certain areas, and also some different spaces in the building that still need to be worked out. Plus, we're very closely monitoring the transportation of 6th and 7th, and for the next 2 weeks to make sure that we have the capacity for 8th grade, which we believe we will. And then for Woolwich, as I shared with you last week, after talking to numerous and trying to recruit numerous people, we finally, have found, a person to help us get some staffing to help us get 6th and 7th grade back on the 12th. And then 8th grade on the same day as 8th grade at BMS. And the reason for that at Woolwich, the reason for 8th grade being later is just the fact that this, the other person, another staff person cannot join us. The person's coming from out of state and will not be in town until be able to do that until after the April break. So that's where we're at. And I was going to have Jason and Brandon, probably less Brandon because he's already, made a presentation to you. But have them kind of just give you a quick update on their plans. So they're out there. So why don't we, Brandon, anything you want to add about today or anything, any different type of update for 8th grade or anything else you want to add before we just have Jason kind of give a quick overview?
Hey, good evening, everybody. No, I think you nailed it all, Patrick. Today went really well. I mean, obviously we were hoping not to have to deal with any type of quarantine situation on the same day we're bringing back 6th and 7th full time, but that whole process went smoothly. The kids in the building was great. I heard a lot of comments that today actually felt like the first day of school for kids and staff, and they meant that in a very positive way. There was a lot of excitement. So I thought today went really well. We're certainly excited to keep moving forward with it. And for 8th grade, like I said, we've got a little bit of work to do in the building, but we're confident that's going to get done. And then just keeping an eye on the transportation numbers that, as you said, we feel pretty good about. So we're very hopeful that it'll be right after April break that 8th grade will also be back and we'll have all of BMS going full time. But no, really, that's it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Is there any, we can split it up. Any questions for Brandon at this point? Probably needs an aspirin. No?
All right, Jason, you out there?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so, Pat gave you a good intro to what we've been working on in the last couple of weeks. I think at the very end of my presentation at the last school board meeting, we mentioned a hub idea, and that actually has been the concept that we've been moving forward with at Woolwich in our effort to get all of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students back. Essentially, that means that we will be able to keep our kids grouped into the smaller groups that will allow us to fit in safely to some of the very few spaces we have left in the building. It was also with a tremendous effort on Pat's behalf, Katie's behalf, and my behalf of calling folks over the last 2 weeks to get the staff in place that will be necessary for that to happen. We did make a couple of shifts with our own staff to accommodate that. But we are feeling very confident that we are ready to bring our kids back. And most importantly, our effort, will be, it will provide our students and families with the academic support. And I think, the big topic we've talked a lot about is the social and emotional support to getting some kind of consistency and routine back. And I think we're all very optimistic about what the fall will hold. And this will be a good way to start to get our kids used to some things that they haven't done in a while. So we're very confident in the plan. We've met with food service, so we know we're in good shape there. I've met extensively with Mr. Harkins and Joanne Wells, our head cook, to make sure we can get it done food service wise. We've done the same with Bath Bus. So we're confident in spacing on the bus and our ability to get them in. And, I think we're in a good position right now to move forward with that plan. As Pat said, just time frame for us. And I did send notice to families on Friday, had positive feedback over the weekend from a few families, just appreciative of the effort. We will, everything is on schedule right now to bring our 6th, 7th grade back next week, and then our 8th grade back following vacation at the same time as BMS. So I'd be happy to take any questions you have.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
Any questions for Jason at this point? Yep.
I have
Lorna?
a few. Hi, Mr. Libby.
Hey, Lorna, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So the 2 plans, as I'm hearing it's great, and I commend all of you for working so hard to come up with something
to get everyone back. But what I'm hearing is they are slightly different, and it sounds like, yours is the hub model, and that
Yep.
essentially it's hybrid, but it's the hub in that those non-instructional days are in school, under your roof.
Yes, that is correct, Lorna. And so basically, without our ability to find teachers to then teach content, we're very confident this is the best way that we can kind of meet both goals of getting our students back and working on those social emotional connections. And when I say that, basically, we're developing schedules for those days that include enrichment and extracurricular activities. With the person that will be supervising that group, but also possibly some virtual sessions with some community members that might have an interest that they want to share with students. Erin Dimbleby, my Dean of Students, is working on that now, so that we have that as, a good tight schedule for those students. But without, like I explained in the last meeting, without completely remixing all of our kids or reshuffling all of our content areas, this is the model that's going to work the best, I think, to meet the middle ground of being able to get them back, but honor all that they put into learning so far this year and not changing all of that on the last few weeks of school.
Right.
I have met with, if I could just add, with Erin and gone over what the hub schedule will look like, because we were really worried about, students just sitting in a room all day. And essentially what it looks like, I actually have it up here in front of me, is 3 structured work sessions throughout the day. So they're at-home work they'll be doing with a staff member in there to support them. And then the rest of the day is broken up into movement and enrichment breaks, as well as lunch and recess. We're sort of in talks with, some teachers have an interest now that they'll have students in the building 5 days. They might want to pop in the morning to be able to give more instruction to the group who's in the hub around the work that they normally wouldn't be able to if the student was just accessing Brightspace while they were teaching. There might also be some interest in, kids participating synchronously. So the teachers in the room may be showing something and the students in the hub could be looking on their computers at whatever that might be for the 10 minutes that direct instruction is happening. And so I think there's going to be a lot more flexibility with how it is. I just didn't want anybody to have the impression that it was going to be a day-long study hall. It's not at all going to be like that.
Thank you.
Outside lessons could combine, possibly the full class, because you can spread out, especially with the 10s coming in after break. Outside recess seems simple, but involving the social worker, guidance counselor more for those students when they're in school that day. So again, trying to make a well-rounded schedule for those students so that it's not, again, what Katie said.
And the other,
And I would just add one more piece kind of to go along with that. Like, we've already had discussions with one of our science teachers about some projects that he could start, but then it could be continued in that hub. So it would be tying in directly with some of that instruction and being able to do some things that we just haven't been able to do yet this year.
great. And then the last thing, and this may come up as in future meetings when we talk more about high school, but did you get any sense from parents of some parents who, if the hybrid was working for them and now they don't necessarily want to do this model, or was it really not a choice?
We're hoping, we're laying it out as this is what we think is in the best interest of students. I think if Jason hears from parents that, for health and safety reasons, if they believe, or, what you said, I think it just needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? No? Okay, well, I do want to thank the administration again. There should be nobody out there, I think, doubts that this is a very challenging and a very difficult thing to accomplish. As simple as it sounds. We said, from the onset, there were space issues, staffing issues. Hopefully we've overcome some of the hesitation and concern in the community about getting kids back into school. And I think as evidence from the progress, and I'll say it as progress, the progress we've made through the year to get our kids back, I think shows how hard the administration has been working on this and making the adjustments necessary. We've got some distance to cover with the high school. Maybe there'll be some breaks there before the end of the year. We are getting close to the end of the year, but I know that Patrick and Eric and Katie are working hard to look at opportunities for accommodation as well. So I want to thank you all for what you've done up to this point. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Item 5.2. This is the public forum on the proposed budget. We have had a question from Abby, Pearson, who has been addressed. But there is also an opportunity, and I think Patrick and Deb will take over at this point. I just want to remind everyone out in the community as well. At this point, we are still dealing with administrative proposal. The board hasn't taken any formal action on the budget, and we won't do that until our April regular board meeting. The finance committee, though, and thanks to Lou and Lou Ensel and members of the finance committee has met several times to discuss elements of the budget. We've had our conversations to a point, and Patrick and Deb have heard the concerns that we've raised. This would be over the next month and a half, an opportunity to hear the concerns that the community has, the public has with the budget. So even though we've only had one call in tonight, I do encourage members of the community to please take a look, to listen to us, take a look at the budget in detail, and if there are questions, issues that you feel we need to address in the context of our meeting, finance committee meetings or regular meetings, please make us aware of those so that as we progress toward the point of the adoption of the budget, we have a document, we have a budget that reflects the interests and the needs and wants of the community. So that's our goal. Okay, Patrick, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I can give a brief overview, and Deb, you feel free to add. But as Steve said, we have met with the finance committee, and there was concern, I guess I would say, expressed regarding trying to keep this budget as low as possible by still supporting our students in our district. So we had conversation about whether we should add anything to this budget as far as positions or not. And so what we've done since the last time is we had $850,000 in balance forward. And basically, that helps to bring down the basic overall increase. And in some years we use 600,000. That's what we used in 2021. We were proposing to use 850. Our fund balance, is at a decent amount right now. So we have bumped that up to $1 million to use for 21-22. And in essence, that brings down the local contribution to 2.13%. And then overall total expenses at 1.6%. And so for the towns, and again, if you're looking at this on our website, this is a little bit lower, and we'll adjust that tomorrow. But for Rouseck, the increase would be a 5.09. For Bath, it would be 1.62. And for Phippsburg, 4.75. And for Woolwich, it would be 1.32. So those are the percentages that it would be now, and the two positions or two increases in the budget that are in labor would be increasing district gifted and talented from roughly a 0.4 to a 1.0 FTE. We have someone retiring this year and looking to fill that position, and again, with a full-time person. And then the other one is a 6th grade science position at BMS based on student enrollment. So those are the two current positions that are in this budget. So I'll stop there and just see, Deb, do you want to add more to that?
No, I think you did a good job. I think, though, that it's important to point out to Rousick and Pittsburgh that their percent increase basically is driven by the fact that their student numbers did not change this year. So, well, a half of a student in Pittsburgh, that's it. So, but that's pretty much the reason why those percentages didn't shift as much as Bath and Woolwich. I think that's it.
The question that we did get from Abby is just concerned federal funds, and just in general, federal funds are not reflected in this budget proposal that we're putting out. This is a state local budget. The federal dollars are a function of plans that the district has developed with the earlier federal funding that was made available and will develop with the new federal funding when those guidelines come out. So there are no expenses or items reflected in this budget that are a function of federal funding at this point. Well, COVID funding. There are other Title I dollars in here, but not the COVID funding.
That's correct.
So this is an opportunity for us to ask questions. We've discussed this a couple of times or more than a couple of times in the Finance Committee, but are there further questions, comments that anyone would like to offer regarding the budget?
I just do want to, we didn't talk about this during our finance committee, but the capital reserve on your last, that we do put 50,000 in that annually. And with that 50,000 that we're proposing to add this year, brings it to 190,000. So just and again, that's for usually if we had something go wrong with a boiler in the district or something of an emergency purpose.
I mean, I think the theme here was to create a budget that provides new spending, look at opportunities to keep our expenses as our added expenses as low as possible. Positions, the partial position, gifted and talented, and the science position are warranted, at least I think, by attendance numbers, by census, and gifted and talented is an area that we have not increased for a while, but increasing with students, educational enhancements and opportunities through the gifted and talented program. So I think Patrick has and Deb have addressed, at least as far as the broad general direction that we've given up to this point, have addressed it. We've tried to address it in this budget. So.
Excuse me, Steve, did Patrick, what did you say that total was for the capital?
It's 190 if you include the 50 that's built into this budget.
Oh, okay. All right. And that's a comfortable amount for going into this next year for you, right?
I think it would be sufficient.
Okay. Thanks.
One of our buildings is under warranty, so hopefully. Jen?
So am I correct that this budget doesn't reflect the outcome of the current teacher negotiation contracts? That those contracts could impact this budget if they came in at a higher than forecasted amount? They concluded that would affect this budget, right?
It could.
Okay.
Well,
And
I think if any scheduled item comes in, beyond,
Transportation
budgeted?
contracts.
that was next one I was
you
gonna
know,
ask you, Patrick,
is-
yeah.
Again, we're working through that. It'll come to the board at the April 25th or 6th meeting for you to vote on. And again, that is something that, once you vote, to approve, a contract, then we go into negotiation with them and, there might be some wiggle room there, but we kind of know, the rough amounts, and we're working with that right now.
If that has a impact on this budget, the percentage for each town, if that would be something that would increase that percentage, could we ask for another finance meeting? Would that be acceptable?
if there are material changes to the budget, number 4, yes, sure.
I don't know what you mean,
Yeah, sure.
as a certain percentage, point. Is that what you're thinking about? Do you have a percentage point in mind if when you say materials, Steve?
Well, I don't,
Okay.
I'm just saying, if there's a need for another finance committee meeting, based on, changes in the environment, if transportation number doesn't seem to be high enough, for example, that as proposed, doesn't seem to be sufficient to cover the contract, we certainly, we can get together and talk about it and see how we're going to address that.
I would like to ask for that now. I mean, if that does come in, instead of kind of deciding should we or not, I would like that to be kind of an automatic thing, that if that comes in higher, then that's going to change the percentage of a local contribution for a town. Then I think that would be a good idea to have a chance to chat about it.
Yeah, and Deb and I can keep you updated on that before the, August adopts, budget.
And the contract negotiations won't be done by the time we have to budget. Or not. Probably they don't usually get.
I don't know that.
Okay.
We remain hopeful, Jen.
I mean, our vote, to adopt the budget, to accept the budget, doesn't mean we can't change the budget in a subsequent meeting. It's just, here's the document that we think reflects the needs of the district as we're aware. If something changes materially in that, you can go to any number of catastrophes that could happen to the district over the ensuing month between, April and June when we present the budget to the public. But,
We have to prepare articles, Jen, early in May. So at that point in time, we will have to have a budget adopted. If something, changes, there was a major change, we would have to look within this budget and find areas to make those changes. Because once those articles are done and it's voted on, then we can't spend more than that amount of money.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to comment that I've appreciated all the finance committee meetings that we've had, and that, I would have liked, I think anyone would have liked this to be a completely flat budget. And I was really hoping for that, but I feel what we've done so far supports the kids and supports reality. The only thing, and I think I said this in finance committee, the only thing that I would appreciate moving forward too is that I know there's some things that are not in this budget that are covered by some of our earlier COVID relief. And just to be mindful as we move forward in future years, that we're not, married to either positions or software that we purchased that we now have to have. So, I trust the administration to keep a thumb on that, and I'll appreciate as we move forward knowing what we're going to keep in the local budget. Because even though it's not impacting it now, I would hate the public to have surprises later for things that we did now that maybe are not necessarily things we need in the future. But other than that, I feel so far, knowing what we know now, we've all worked really hard in finance committee to find the best solution.
Thanks, Tom. Any further comments? Okay. Thank you. Again, at our regular meeting, well, we can move to item 6.0, which is discussion of the next board meeting, which is April 26th. We'll discuss the budget again, and again, we'll take a vote on the budget at that point. I urge the public to take this ensuing 20 days or so to familiarize yourself to the extent that you want with the detail of the budget and to raise concerns if you have them, so that as we move through the budget process, we're confident that we're reflecting the community's interests and wants.
So just to clarify that, so on the 26th, when we vote for that budget, Deb, those numbers are going out for the warrant, right? That is the budget on the 26th?
I believe so. Well, no, actually, I think it's May. I don't have my schedule right in front of me. Maybe Patrick does, but I think it's May 3rd.
May 3rd is the second budget reading.
So
May
that's
3rd.
another public
Yes.
forum on the 26th. Another
Yeah,
opportunity.
so May 3rd will be officially another public meeting, but hopefully by that point in time, I will come to that meeting with the numbers put in the warrant. So if there was some change on May 3rd, then I would make that change and have you folks sign it with the change. But then that warrant will be posted out to the communities, and that's what will be presented at the public hearing at the end of May, and then voted on by referendum vote in June.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we still don't know whether or not we're gonna do a double.
Right, we're getting some guidance on what our district budget meeting would look like. And for Jamie, we've always tended to do that obviously in person at BMS, and I think maybe you come as a community member, but, and, just with COVID last year, we didn't do it that way. And, so we're just waiting for some guidance on what's the best way to proceed with that. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that.
Thank you.
So that's still unclear. Okay, any further discussion? Yeah, if not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Bill, second by Anita. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? And Lou votes aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, off Damien.
Damien? All right.